or anything just to make sure the program runs smoothly. Thank you. Good morning, distinguished guests, respected professors, and dear participants. Welcome to the 6th-day International FDP on the Next Gen Engineering Education, where the modern perspectives for the educators organized by the Department of the Applied Science and Humanities at Sripadi Institute of Management and Technology. This program runs from 8th June to 13th June 2026. This international initiative aims to equip the educators with contemporary rights, insights, and cutting edge to shape the future of the engineering educations. To begin this auspicious occasion on a divine note, let us seek the blessings of the Almighty. I request Ms. Niranjana from CSC Department of Section 82 to lead us into the prayer.
പ്രപഞ്ചമാകെ വെളിച്ചം വിടർത്തും പ്രതിഭാസമേ സർഗപ്രതിഭാസമേ പ്രണമിക്കുന്നു ഞങ്ങൾ പ്രകാശമരുളേണമേ അക്ഷരദീപം കൊളുത്തി അത്ഭുതലോകം വിടർത്തി അക്ഷരദീപം കൊളുത്തി അത്ഭുതലോകം വിടർത്തി വിശ്വം മുഴുവൻ വീടായി മാറ്റും വിശ്വം മുഴുവൻ വീടായി മാറ്റും വിജ്ഞാനനിധി തേടുന്നു ഞങ്ങൾ വിജ്ഞാനനിധി തേടുന്നു പ്രപഞ്ചമാകെ വെളിച്ചം വിടർത്തും പ്രതിഭാസമേ സർഗപ്രതിഭാസമേ പ്രണമിക്കുന്നു ഞങ്ങൾ പ്രകാശമരുളേണമേ. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Niranjana, for the soul-stirring prayer. A warm welcome sets the tone for a wonderful journey ahead. To formally welcome our gathering, I invite Dr. Praveen P. Nambishan, Coordinator, Professor and Head of the Applied Science and Humanities Department of Sripadi Institute of Management and Technology, to extend a hearty welcome to this inaugural session of our Faculty Development Program. Sir, the floor is yours.
Hi, good morning all. It's an immense pleasure for me to welcome you all for the 6th-day FDP, which was coordinated by Applied Science and Humanities Department, Sripadi Engineering College. And first of all, I welcome the Sripati management, the principal, Dr. S.P. Subramanian, sir. He's the inaugurator, and he's the constant support for us for the throughout journey. And I welcome all the head of departments, faculty fellows, all other participants, teaching and non-teaching staffs to the particular occasion. And moreover, the 6 days will be led by the 6+2, like 6 to 12 delegates will be there as resource speakers. And I welcome one by one Dr. V. Premachandran, sir, a retired professor, NSU Singapore. Then Dr. E. Prasad, professor, HOD, Central University, Kerala. Mrs. Jayashree, head of department, KMCT. Mr. Sharath Shankar, project officer, ED2. Dr. P.M. Ravi, he is a retired head, BARC. And Mr. C.K. Suresh, he is the harmonic mentor and life skill trainer. Then Dr. Jijida Valisheri, he is a research fellow, National Yangming Chiang Tung University, Taiwan. Dr. Faisal P, he is the principal, Marcus Training College, Atavanad. He is the psychology for effective education. His topic it is. Then next is Dr. Hari Krishnan. He is a research scientist in Quantify Analytics, Bangalore. Next, Dr. Rajesh CB. He is the associate professor, HOD, physical science, NSS College of Engineering, Palakkad. Then Dr. Deepa Gobinath. She is the life skill trainer. She was the retired professor from CET Trivandrum. Then Dr. Muhammad Salim. He is the research engineer, Pervoscate Solar Cells, Spain. So these are our resource persons. I welcome you all into this particular occasion, this FDP. I hope this journey will be fruitful to you. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your incredibly warm and encouraging words. Great institutions are built on strong leadership. We are blessed with a leader who constantly inspires us towards academic excellence. May I now respectfully invite our Honorable Principal, Dr. S.P. Subramanian, to deliver the inaugural address and officially inaugurate the 6th Day International FDP. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, all of you. Hope I am audible to all of you. I'm extremely happy to be present here during this inaugural session of this 6 days FDP. I'm also happy to announce that Sripati is organizing 7 such FDPs by all the departments during this June 2026. So Department of ASH is organizing this FDP. Dr. Praveen, the head of the department, already explained the theme of FDP, the details of all the speakers, the various topics that are being covered during all these 6 days. I'm happy to be here. So let me formally inaugurate this FDP. Thank you once again. Congratulations to the Department of ASH, the faculty members, Dr. Praveen, the head of the department, for organizing this wonderful event, for arranging various topics. Audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible. Please continue, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So this online FDP, Dr. Premachandran, the first speaker for the first day program, is already available here with me. I extend warm welcome to him personally. This online program, FDPs, have got advantage of for both the participants as well as the organizers. Participants in the sense you can listen to the program from wherever you are. You can avoid traveling. You can avoid all the arrangements required for presenting yourself in the venue. So all these things are eliminated, and hence you will be having the comfort of attending these programs at your place. And as far as the organizers are concerned, we are able to organize various resource persons from wherever they are, anywhere from the world. They will be able to conduct the program. So we have the advantage of organizing these programs. And the only disadvantage which I feel is that I'm not able to see the faces of the participants. That is the drawback of this online programs. Whereas when we have an offline regular program, we'll be able to meet face by face and see the feeling of the participants and then able to talk to them. So that is the only disadvantage which I felt for this online program. Anyway, it is good that the Department of Affairs is arranging this program. I wish all the best for the participants. I'm sure the 6 days of programs arranged on various topics will be of immense help to the audience, to the participants. It is next gen engineering education, modern perspectives for educators. I would rather say it is not next gen, it is the present, even the present generation. Teaching learning process is going through a wide aspects of changes. Because earlier the teaching was the only responsibility of the teachers and learning was the responsibility of the students. Whereas nowadays it has changed. Both teaching and ensuring that the students are learning, both are becoming the responsibility of the teachers. That is what is happening. The attention or listening span of the students are drastically getting reduced, and they don't prepare themselves beyond the classroom. So whatever is required to be taught or to be done in the classroom itself, that is what is happening of late. So various aspects, various methods are being developed in this type of teaching environment. Even IITs, I had the opportunity to attend some programs, discuss with some of the professors. What they are also telling, I was thinking that it is the fate of self-financing college faculty members like in Sribari, but even professors in IIT, they also have the same feeling that the students are not like what they were earlier. It is becoming the responsibility of the teachers to make sure that learning happens in the classroom itself. So modern changes like what you call gamification in teaching. So classroom, in order to make sure that students are engaged actively, they are participating actively, methods are being developed by teachers. Gamification is one part in that. So altogether, the teaching learning has become a different game nowadays. So I hope the 6-day FDP involving various topics on this engineering education will surely help the audience and the participants as far as teaching learning process in education is concerned. Once again, I congratulate the Department of Applied Science and Humanities for organizing this FDP. Welcome all the participants and the host persons. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening words and for officially setting this program in motion. Your vision always motivates us. As we come to the conclusion of this inaugural session, gratitude is the sweetest fruit of all the well-spent morning. To express our appreciation, I invite Ms. Mayashri KM, co-coordinator of this FDP, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Yes, you may continue, Jayesh.
Good morning, everyone. It's my great privilege to propose the vote of thanks for this inauguration section of the 6-day International FDP on Next Gen Engineering Education, the Modern Perspectives for Educators. First of all, I express my sincere thanks to the management of Sribadi Institute of Management of Technology for providing us the great, wonderful opportunity. And I extend my sincere gratitude our respected principal, sir, Dr. S.P. Subramanian, for inaugurating this program and inspiring us with his valuable words. And I express my heartfelt thanks to our coordinator and the head of the department, Dr. Praveen Lambushan, for his valuable guidance and support in organizing this FDP. And my special thanks to all the dignitaries, faculty members, resource persons, and participants and guests for your valuable presence and participation. We hope this 6-day FDP will provide a fruitful learning experience for all the participants. Once again, thank you all for your support and participation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mayashri. With this, we conclude our inaugural session. We request all participants to turn on their cameras for a quick virtual group photograph before we move into our very first technical session. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful week of learning ahead. Thank you. I request all the participants to please turn on their cameras for a quick photograph.
Dear participants, it's my pleasure to introduce the resource person for our first session, Dr. V. Premachandran. Dr. V. Premachandran has extensive experiences in industry, teaching and research with more than 35 research publications and 2 patents. He was with Chartered Semiconductors, Singapore, and with Solar Energy Research Institute, National University of Singapore. He served as working committee member of the Kerala State Planning Board and columnist for CNBC TV 18 Group. He was a reviewer for IEEE Electron Devices Journal, USA. We are delighted to have such an eminent expert with us today. I now invite Dr. V. Premachandran to take over the session. So please.
Okay, good morning to you all. There will be a bit of hiccup to start with. So just make sure that everybody can hear me. And we will just continue for the next maybe an hour or more than that. So assuming that everybody can see me and hear me, and let me try to set up some of the basic tones of this activity in the morning. Now, once again, good morning to you all. And I thank you all for coming here. And this is a very good opportunity for me to meet you all. And let me thank the Sripati Institute of Management to provide me such an opportunity to meet you all and speak to you. And put my views to you. And the organizers has given us sufficient time so that we can take time and we can go a bit slow. We don't need to rush through. So what I'm going to do is that let us try to set up a little bit of things that since we have time, I'm going to divide this into two parts. The first one, I'm going to provide whatever I want to tell and whatever my feeling about the education and engineering education, the current and the future. Probably I may also touch upon what is happening in the previous years. And the second part of that, the first part is what I am going to talk to you. The second part, we all will learn together so that you can have your own views, you can have your own comments, and this is a learning session and we can all learn together because all of you have sufficient and lot of experience. So there will be a lot of things to learn from all of us each other. So the second part, we will make it as a learning part of that. Now, let me make some statements. And I like to see you all and give a lecture in a classroom or in a hall. And there are a few reasons for that. The first one is that as an educator, and let me just try to set how do I address you. So I will call you as educators. Sometimes I may use like teachers because I have been using or we have been using from the school days the term teachers, but that is not the correct term that we all know. But sometimes I may use the term as a teacher, but excuse me for coming up with that word. We will define what is supposed to be in the future. Now, I like to see you all in a hall or in a classroom, and that's the way I like to see it, but there is no way we can do that. There are a lot of advantages for doing in an online. The main reason is that we can all join it from various parts of the world itself. And there is no need to travel to either Sripati or any hall or any place. There's an advantage. But why I said that I want to meet you all physically and talk, the reason is that when I give a lecture, like all of you, we also evaluate the persons who are sitting in front of us. And we modulate, at least I modulate myself to fit into the surroundings that we have. And such a thing is not possible now because I am doing it blindly without seeing anybody's face. And another reason why I believe, especially in open forum like this. So for example, if I am going to give a lecture to a third-year engineering student, for example, I know that student has done 12 years in the school and 2 years in the college. So I know what is their level and I can pitch myself to that level and give the lecture so that everybody can follow it. But in an open forum like this, I have no way to find out what is the level of the individual attendees. So I don't know where to fix and how to set the tone of that one there. And physically, if I see that, I'll at least get a feel of how many of you have sufficiently years of experience. Some of you may be just young, and I cannot do that as well. So this is a disadvantage which I feel when I have to do it on an online course like this. But I don't know how do you feel it. Now, when I say I like to physically see you, the meaning of that is that the light falling on you reflects from you and falls directly into my eyes, into my retina. It is straightforward, and there is nothing else in between. But here, there is a digital manipulation coming in between. And now you know what exactly that I mean. So those who have not seen me before, it doesn't matter who is the person who is sitting here, but some of you might have seen me before, but you have no idea the image that you see in front of you, whether it's a digitally cloned image. And you know what meaning it has nowadays, because it is quite easy for us to clone somebody and you have no idea the person sitting in front of you is really that person. So I'm just telling you that such a thing is happening because there is a digital manipulation coming in between here. But it doesn't matter for the time being. We just assume that the person sitting in front of you is real me. So let me try to go ahead with that. Now, let me try to start with how do we proceed that. Now, I said all of you have sufficient experience. So what I'm going to do is that I basically talk from my experience, not reading from a textbook. So the immediate question is that there is a reason for that, because I will use some of my experiences that I've gone through in my life to come up certain things in this talk or in this presentation. So the question is that what is my experience of that one? So I'm just quickly brief you what exactly I did. And another reason for that is that you can want to ask you any question at the second part of that. You know exactly what I have done, and I can be more specific to some of your questions. So what I did is, as usual, like any one of us, I went to a government upper primary school, my village. And let me just tell you, that was just two halls. There was no partition or wall between the classrooms. So one could see, or I could see all the students in that hall, whether it's a class, second class, first standard, or third standard, whatever is that. And it was a fun at that point of time. And later I just went to a high school, the nearby. And later, my pre-degree and degree, I did it from Thrissur. It's a city in Kerala. It's a St. Thomas College. And throughout, I had a liking for physics, so that was a subject I had taken it up. And I completed a BSc with physics from that one. Then I went to Bombay University, did my master's there. And there's a specialization there, and the specialization was semiconductors. And I think all of you know what's the meaning of semiconductors. We use all the electronic devices like transistors and diodes, and later on the chips, the microchips or silicon chips, whatever we call. These are all comes under semiconductors. You know that one day. So that was my specialization. And immediately after my master's, I joined in a college as a lecturer in Bombay itself, one of the good colleges, and good students. The problem or the advantage with the good students is that you will have to learn a lot because you have to teach them. So I learned a lot. Probably sometimes I think if I have studied that much in the schools or colleges, probably I got all the ranks there. But that really helped me to go to all the fundamentals of physics and the subjects there. And 1 year after that, I started my research at Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in Bombay. And that was again in silicon. And normally for all those devices, like diodes, transistors, microcircuits, like silicon chips, so they're all crystalline silicon. But the research on the fundamental side was on amorphous silicon. It's a disordered system, and how the electrons conduct in such a system. There's a disordered material that was an amorphous silicon for that. And I have done the materials part of that. And one of the applications of amorphous silicon was solar cells. So I have also done part of that. So I have 3 international papers in the materials of silicon, amorphous silicon, and 2 international papers on amorphous silicon-based solar cells. So that is how I completed my PhD and got my PhD from Bombay University. And then I joined back the same college and did a little bit of teaching there. And later I moved to Bangalore and I joined a company called Indian Telephone Industries. You might have heard of that. And Indian telephone industry at that point of time was the only communication industry that they make telephones as well as telephone exchanges and all the communication instruments for that. They started, it was a huge company there, 34,000 people in that location alone. And there are, of course, there are other parts of India. You have ITIs. Back in Palgad, you have an ITI unit. This is, of course, smaller ones. And ITI started a new division at that time called microelectronics, silicon. Their aim was to make chips because ITI was a user of many chips for their, applications, whatever they have. So why not start a unit itself to produce chips? So that was the idea. They started a new unit. We were a few who has picked up for the first, and we started from the scratch. So there was no collaboration. We just started that one day. And that was an R&D, research and development, come pilot production unit. And that is how we started on silicon. We continued that. That was a crystalline silicon, of course. And we could manage that, and we did some of the chips there, and we continued with that one day. At that time, ITI got a big project from Indian Army, that is to set up a communication network as a Pakistan border. And they wanted a specialized chip for that, which cannot be made outside India. And we made that one day. And that was a big boost for us. And I was one of those major player in that role. And after that, we have another project that is straight from Dr. Abdul Kalam. He was a scientific advisor to the central government at that time. Later, he became, all of us know that he is a president of India. And that was again a successful, a separate building and the whole thing there. And after that, I just moved to Singapore, joined Chartered Semiconductors. Again, they make microchips, but that's a huge factory. And they make millions of transistors and per month. So they start 1,000 wafers, silicon wafers per day. So 30,000 wafers per month. That's the type of thing there. It's a huge one. I was a principal engineer in the R&D, Research and Development unit. I just continued there for quite a number of years. Then I just moved to the National University of Singapore and the Solar Energy Research Institute. I was a senior fellow there, the Solar Energy Research Institute. So in the whole of this, I had 35 publications and 2 patents. And when I was in India, since I was in the field of semiconductors, I was one of the founding members of Semiconductor Society of India, and another one is a treasurer of VLSI Society of India. So this is basically what I have done, that part of it. Then now I returned back to Kerala, and I just be active in writing, so various activities. One of the field is education, obviously, and technology, of course, is a part of the whole career. And I was also associated with, I was a member of, working committee member of the Kerala State Planning Board when they were working on the 14th 5-year plan. So I was associated with that. And that is part of that, which is the plan is still going on there, the 14th 5-year plan. So this is basically my experiences that I went through. And let me start with, go back to our topic, that is education, engineering education for the future. How do we make sure that the engineers coming out of the engineering institutions are really wanted and remain as relevant in the future? That is one of those. Now, let's look at what is happening around us. Now, we see a lot of changes taking place, especially for the last couple of years. All of us are going through that. And let us try to look at what exactly the reason, why there is a change there, and what exactly is happening. And the changes are also fast, that what we feel. Now, let's look at some of the areas where we have, every area there are changes. If you go to the bank, for example, and a couple of years back, there was a ledger there. And when you put money there, they write it in that ledger. When we take the money there, they write it on the ledger, and that just goes on there. Now, we don't have to go to a bank to do any money transactions. We can just sit anywhere in the world and do that. Through our mobile phone, we can just do that. We don't need hard cash to do it. So it has totally changed the last couple of years. If you look at it, so much of change that has happened in the banking sector. And look at the hospitals. And there's a lot of changes there. So many equipments coming up in the hospitals there. So many tests can be done. So much evaluations can be done there. Now, if you just look at carefully, there are robotics who is doing the operations or surgery. And very soon, now it's already started, you can sit in one part of the corner of the world and do the surgery somewhere else, the other end of it, through a robotic, through the internet. And so it is not far off that you don't need to go to a hospital where the expertise exists. You can go to another hospital and you can make use of the expertise from the other part of the world. And they will do the operation or the surgery without even knowing or touching your body there. So these are all the changes which is happening and is going to come there. And there is no doubt about it. And every field, those who take photography as a hobby, we know that a couple of years back, we had to have a film And to see the result of our photograph, we have to wait till the whole film is over. And we had to wash it, we had to get the print out of that, and we had to do. And we know those who have been doing at that time, the effort we had to put in, especially if you have to shoot a marriage function, you have no idea what has come inside. But now we know we can just click it and see for yourself immediately. And we have skipped many steps in between. For example, we don't need to wash it. We don't need to open it. Nothing has to be done. You just have the result immediately, making it much easy. That's why now anyone can take a photograph and anyone can take a video and you can post it. So it is not now you have to depend on somebody else there. You have the capability, you can just do it yourself. If you have the expertise, you can just do that. And the media is exactly the same thing. So every field we have the changes, and the changes are pretty fast because it just happened right in front of our eyes. And it's also true with education. And education is more in the sense we are teaching them, the students, what is going to be there and how to do all this. So we have an additional responsibility of teaching that, and we have to see how the things are. And we are interacting with learning part of that for the students. So we have an additional responsibility, and that is precisely what we are going to talk today and discuss it. So there are a lot of things where we can discuss that one day. Now, all these behind, if you ask me what is driving all these changes, the answer is simple. It is technology. So if let's say there is no technology improvement or it's just remained as it is 50 years back, we will be almost in the same level. We will not have been gone a little bit, of course, whatever the reason that. But all the changes that is happening everywhere is the bank or hospital or media, whatever is that, it's all because there is a technology change taken place there. And I think you will not have any problem with that if I say that. So the technology change means there are engineers behind, no doubt about that. So engineers will be needed all over. Earlier banking, there was no need for engineers. What you have is accountants and so on. Now, the whole thing, you need engineers behind. If you don't have an engineer, sometimes it will just get stuck. It doesn't move forward. Like a hospital, you need equally engineers than the hospital staff there. And media, we need engineers. Everywhere we need engineers now. There are a lot of engineering requirement. So as an engineering institute and those who are doing engineering, it's a good time. There's no doubt about that. And it's not just that. The communication, you need engineers. There are changes happening there. Space technology, there are spaces happening there everywhere. It's even military, police, everywhere you have the engineers needed. But let's ask some fundamental questions. So I'm going to ask some fundamental questions about engineering and other part of that. And sometimes I'm going to give you some answers and you may have a difference of opinion. And that is precisely what I want. So I may use some strong sentences that is just to trigger you because that part we will use for discussion in the second part of that. So what I suggest is that don't immediately ask questions now. Just write it down the questions and let us discuss those things in the second half. We will have sufficient time there. And Sripati has given us a lot of time to do that one day. So let us ask the basic questions. So I'm going to ask some very basic questions and start from that. And I'm going to give you some of the answers, but you may have a different answer. And that's precisely what I need for us to all learn and discuss and learn from all of you there. Now, why is it the change is taking place so fast nowadays? Because we see last 5 years, if you take that, and 50 years back, 5 years, if you take that, the last 5 years, the changes are much more than 50 years back for the same 5 years. But why it is changing fast nowadays? So another question is that, will it slow down in the future? The answer is no. There is no way it will slow down. Rather, it will increase the speed. So be prepared for that one day. But the question is, why it is changing fast nowadays? or in the future, why is it going to be faster? The reason is simple. Why? So to answer that, I need to ask the question, why it was slow earlier? Because the same human beings were at that time, 50 years old, back. It's the same human beings. Human beings have not changed, or we have not, our intelligence has not increased so much for the last 50 years. It's the same. But then why we are not able to move fast, or why we are not able to change fast? So there must be a reason for that one there. Because if you have to change our intelligence, we need to evolve. And 50 years is too short a time for any evolution. So we have almost the same 50 years back as well as now. So what I think the reason is that how do we move forward or develop a new technology, or how do you change? The reason is that, or the thing that we have in front of us is that hurdles. There's something stopping us, not allowing us to move forward. So what is that? It's a hurdle. So there is a problem in front of us, and that is stopping us moving forward. So what you need to do that, you have to solve that problem. And that is precisely technology development. So we develop a technology to solve that problem. And with that problem not there, we can move faster because we don't have that hurdle and we just move it faster there. Now, when you move faster, there will be another problem coming in front of us, another hurdle, and we again solve that. And we just keep moving forward, solving problems, and so on. And as we keep solving the problems, our speed of movement or advancement increases. And this happens. And this is the reason for the change that is taking place. Earlier ones, we didn't have that so much of capability, or we don't have the problems that we could solve. But why we are able to solve problems? Because we have developed technology to do that. We have developed machines to solve the problems. We had a lot of information now available, and information can reach faster from one person to another. So we have a lot of knowledge, and we have equipments we have developed. And with that, we could solve the problems easier. And when we hit on the next problem, we can use these machines, this knowledge, and we can develop new machines, new knowledge, and we can solve that problem. So problem solving is the one that is taking us forward faster and faster. And in the future, obviously, we will be able to solve the problems faster. And obviously, our changes will be faster. It will not slow down. So that's an issue that we have to deal with it, because we are dealing with students, and this is how it is. Now, we have an advantage as teaching the engineering. The reason is that we might have heard so many places problem solving, and we need people who can solve problems. And engineering per se, we use problem solving as one of our techniques. And we are basically asking students to solve problems, and they are coming up with capabilities to solve problems. And that is precisely what we have the capability there. So let's look at the students' education. So this is about the changes and how much or what are the areas that we need it. And obviously engineering is one of the requirements for throughout. And the engineers are needed in almost all areas that I have talked about it, and the reasons also I have said that. So now let's look at about the education of engineering students and how do we educate them. Now, engineering education is a small subset of a big umbrella called education itself. So without touching on what is education, I cannot just simply go to engineering education. So let us start with what is education. So let us ask a question. Why do we need education? So I'm basically going to the fundamentals of that, and we'll try to build from there. Why do we need education? Why do we need to go to schools and colleges? I asked a couple of people, a couple of students, they said, I want to get a job. Fine, absolutely, because we are all working, we all need jobs. There's no doubt about that, absolutely fine. Then I asked, why do you need a job? Then they said, I need to get a salary. Absolutely, because we all need salary to do that. And I asked again, why do you need a salary? They said, I want to have a life. I want to have a comfortable life. Absolutely, no doubt about that. So we need a job, we need a salary, we need a comfortable life. So we have learned, we study, we go for education systems to do that. So natural implication of that is that the higher the education, you have a better job. So you have degree, master's, PhD. Obviously, the higher the education, you have a better job, better salary, and better facilities or comfort, whatever is that you have. But I have a bit of problem here. If I just look at my school days, some of my classmates who are not good at learning, whatever is the reason, I'm not going to that one, learning, they don't pass the examination. And at those days, those who doesn't pass the examination will fail. So there are some of my classmates who failed multiple years, multiple classes, and some of them couldn't complete it or did not complete the SSLC and left the school. Now, if I look some of them, they are comfortable. They are earning quite good, and they are comfortably living their life. And when I look at some of those who have studied very well in the school, some of them are not to that level of some of the people who left the school earlier. So my argument that you get a comfortable life if you study higher and higher, that doesn't hold good. Then how do I answer this part of that? So even though for general, we can say that higher the studies, you'll get a comfortable living. It's fine, but it doesn't tally all the time. So let me like to look at a bit different. Now I will say education is that, let me put it differently. Let me say that we need to live. There's no doubt about that. We need to live today as well as tomorrow and the future. And to live, we need some skills. I mean, absolutely, we need some skills. So I will say that education is to live or to get skills. So it's basically what type of skill we needed to live depends upon what do we do. So whatever skill is needed, we have to attain that, and we just keep doing it. Depends upon what is the situation there. And we have to look at the students that we are in front of us. They are going to live 60 or 70 years into the future. So the skills can be very different. We cannot just look at what's the skill needed tomorrow or next 5 years. After 50 years, those skills can be totally different, the need. And we know 50 years back, whatever skill was needed is not the skills that we need today. At least those who want to have a comfortable life and the situations around us. Obviously, if I just extrapolate it, the next 50 years or 60 years, the skills can be totally different. We touch up some of those as we go through this talk. So obviously, whatever is the skill that is needed at that point of time, and for that particular person, you have to learn it. And you have to live with that skill and whatever that comes. And this make it easier for me. So I don't talk about the degree or the master's or PhD or somebody who left the school earlier. If they had a skill or if they have a skill to live, they can work and get whatever they want. So now it is not tied to the degrees or whatever it is that I am going to talk about that in detail later on, because the way that we look at engineering or education and educational institutions, we have to look differently. So even not just the educators like professors or teachers, whoever is that, even the administrators of these educational institutions and even the administrator of universities have to keep looking at it, whether they are going to be relevant in the future, because the changes are going to take place everywhere. And if we don't prepare ourselves for that changes, we will be out of the system, because the simple natural law is survival of the fittest. So if we don't fit in the system in the future, we will not survive. It's a natural law. everyone it's applicable to everyone, whether it's an individual, whether it's in family, or whether it's in society, or a state, or a country, whatever is that. If you are not fit, you will not survive. It's a simple natural law we all have to follow, and we will follow that. So that's the thing there. So whatever skill is needed, then we have to have that one there. Now, what I'm going to do is that I just look at some of the slides. So I pick up some of the findings, some of the surveys done by various people, and I look at some of the things that we have to do, how to go about in the future in the education field there. Now, let me ask a question. If you are going to learn about the skill, and if that is more important for us, skill means everything. Everything, knowledge comes in that one there, because we have to use the knowledge to go ahead with the skill. So it's all part of that one. So basically it's a skill, that one there. Now, let me ask some very basic question again, come back to the basics. Do we have the ability to learn the skills? Because we had to learn the skill. So do we have the ability, or we have to teach, or bringing the ability into oneself and use that to learn the skill there? Now, nature has provided all the ability to learn the skills. We have it inbuilt. Somehow we don't really look at it that one day. Now, let me just look at some of the nature, what is provided to us. I'll call it a nature, or you can call God, or whatever it is. It's all the same thing. Now, let me just look at myself. When I was born, I was just, or before that, let me just say that. Say, for example, if I just go and pick up my mobile phone from the next table, I can just stand up, walk, and get my mobile phone. It's not at all a big issue. I don't even remember that I did that. So in a day, I am doing so many such things. I don't remember in the evening what all I did, just walking around and so on. But just look at, when I was born, I was just lying on the floor or the bed. I was not able to walk at all. Then I turned around. When I did that, it's true with everyone. I mean, including all of you and the whole world. Turned around. Then I started walking on 4 legs. Then I slowly picked the chair or the wall, whatever it is that, slightly started standing up. I might have fell down so many times, because when I look at the children now, who is at home, I see the same thing. So I might have fell down, but I did still continued that. Then I hold that and started with 1 step, started walking very slow. I might have fell down again. Then without holding, I started walking. Then I started running. And this is what I am today. But the question is, to do this, I never went to any school. No teacher has taught me this. But I learned it. How? And look at the skill of walking and running is, I'll consider as more than any skill that anybody needs it. Because we see people around us sometimes who are not able to stand up and walk. And they, if you just look at the miserable life that they have, and the reason may be sometimes some disease like polio and so on, but whatever is that, is a skill to walk and run and stand up. More than any skill, I say this is the most supreme that I have. But I did not study from any school that one. Nobody has taught me that, but I did it. But how? Because nature has given that capability to learn skills within us. We have the skill to learn. We have the capability to learn skills. It is built in us. Now, it's another example, what we did, what all of us did. I am speaking to you in English. And we also learned English and Hindi in the school. All of us done that one. And many years, many teachers, and so many hours per day. And look at that. Some of the people, I am speaking in English, but if you have not gone out of Kerala, there are many people, even after studying so many years in the school language, English and Hindi, speaking in English or Hindi becomes so difficult for them. And if somebody asks a question in Hindi, answering that is not easy. But I have started speaking my mother tongue, Malayalam, and I never went to any school to do that. No teacher has taught me to speak Malayalam. That is my mother tongue. When I was 1 year old or 2 years old, I learned that skill of speaking my language. Look at that. Speaking a language, how difficult we know when we are trying to speak in English or Hindi or whatever other language, how many years we have to do that. A 1 year old or 2 year old child is speaking a language without the help of anybody. Think of that skill that we have. Look at those who cannot speak. You'll understand how important is that. Speak a language. And we did that without any help, without going to any school or anywhere. We learned that skill by ourselves because nature has given that capability to us to learn the skill of so much important for us, that one. So this is what it is, and we have the capability. So all of us has the capability to learn skills. Nature has provided that. I said where's the nature or God, whatever you call, we have all have the capability. Now, are we doing it correctly? That's the question. So let me give one more example. If you look at, if you have children at home or neighbors who are 3-year-old or 4-year-old, they'll be holding the hand of father or the mother, and they'll be asking questions, or elders at home. What is that? What is this? How is that? So many questions they will be asking. Sometimes we will say, oh, this is a nuisance, or we will say that, why do you want to keep? Look, 4-year-old or 3-year-old doesn't know how to make somebody angry. They will never know that. If they are asking question is not to annoy anybody, they don't know such a thing at all. They don't know how to make angry others. They are just want to know. They want to learn. And they learn by asking questions. And they ask all sorts of questions because they want to learn all those things there. So if somebody get annoyed, no, it is we are making a mistake. Now let me ask a question. Somebody who has gone to the school, the first standard, second standard, fourth standard, whatever is it, do they ask any questions, the students? So what did we do? We stopped their capability of asking questions and learning from that. This is what the school did. The school is supposed to do that. Are we not encourage them to learn? But in the process, what we did is that we never asked, we stopped their capability of asking questions and learning. We said, no, you should learn this, you should learn that, you should learn for examination. In the process, we killed their capability to ask questions and learn by themselves. And this is what precisely we did it. And we made so many examinations. And you said that if you don't pass that, you don't have this, that, you don't have that, what not. So what we need to do is that develop the skill, what is provided by nature. And we have the capability. And what we need to do is that just trigger those capabilities once again. They will learn. Don't suppress it. So that is what we need to do. Now, let me just go through some of the slides. And I already talked about, probably you'll see these same things in the slides, and we will go a little more. And I look at some of the research reports by various groups, and we will pick it up from that one there and just go ahead in the forward. So let me have a slide into doing that. Sorry, I just did it. You can do this. Yes, full screen. Sharing. Sorry, just hold on.
ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാനില്ലോ അതിന് കാണാല്ലേ സ്ക്രീൻ ഇട്ടാ മതി സ്ക്രീൻ ഇത് മാറ്റി സ്ക്രീൻ
Okay, sorry for this hiccup. So we just come back. I hope all of you can see this. So we are talking about, I'm just going through some of the things that we have already discussed. So I just quickly go through some of the slides so that we'll continue. And from there, we'll continue that. So we talked about there are changes everywhere, and that is precisely we have been talking about. And I talked about what is driving the changes. We already talked about that. Then we said it is much faster in the recent times. We also given the reason for that, why it is faster. And will it slow down in the future? No, there is no doubt about that. We also talked about that. And we talked about why it is changing faster because of the problems that we are solving. And we also linked to the engineering students as an advantage because they are basically trained to solve problems. So they have an advantage and they can use that problem solving technique everywhere because everywhere you need, even for general administration, or district administration, whatever is that, you all need to have problem solving capabilities. An engineer happily fits everywhere in that. And so we need for engineers. A lot of engineers are needed in every walks of life. So that is what we have. So we talked about general education. What is it for? So we asked that question, and we said almost like we have to develop skills for us to live in the future. So education basically to get the skills that you want for the future. Of course, you may have a different opinion or different way of looking at it. We will discuss it at the later stage. Now, to get a good job, that is what we started with, but it's not really that one day. So let us look at the skills, and we said that skills are needed, and what skills are needed, we said whatever that is needed in the future, we need all those skills to learn. And future, we said for a student, it is 60 or 70 years. So whatever skills are needed, they have to learn it. And from where do they learn? We'll come back to that. Because the life of what we teach in an engineering college, I'm just going to the engineering college, is also true with other colleges or other institutions. It is how much is the life. So we said, I mean, the changes are taking so fast, so we may not have much life for what we are teaching. So the question is, how do we go about doing what to teach in the colleges, and how do we teach, and what do we do for that one day? Because the life can be quite short there. The skill, life of the skill can be quite short. Then we also talked about the nature has given so much capability to learn for all of us. And I gave examples like walking and whatever is that one bit. Now, just to start with, how do we put it all in a nutshell? So I just used one of the proverbs, and this is a Chinese proverb, and I found it very useful to tell what exactly is needed. So let me just pick up that Chinese proverb. And this is this. Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish, you feed him a lifetime. Let me repeat it. Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish, you feed him a lifetime. And this is what we need. So we have to teach our students how to learn, and that we feed him for the entire life. So this Chinese proverb, I also need to talk about the Chinese. I mean, whatever proverb, we have so much of proverb in our own side as well. And proverbs or the old sayings are after so many years of experience, it is coming out of that one day. Now, what we are going through now and what the future generation is going through, like AI and so on, probably they may be completely immersed in the AI type of level, and they will never see a world without that, because when they go for the next 30, 40 years, but we are fortunate or unfortunate, whatever is that, we know a world without the AI, and we also know what is happening during an AI. So we have the advantages as well as, or we know the advantages as well as disadvantages of AI world as well as a world without AI. We can understand that and we can compare it. And some of the drawbacks about the future technological world, we can understand it because we know without that how we are living it. So many such proverbs or many of our wisdom of the past, it is generated after so many years going through that. So we have thousands of years or 500 years back or 5,000 years back wisdom with us. And sometimes you will say, oh, these are all very old. It doesn't fit in. But we have never gone through that in the past because we lived in this world. We are born into this world. We are living in this world. So some of the things that we are doing may not be the right way to do it. And we don't know that because we never experienced it. Whereas our past people have experienced it and they know that's a better way of doing it. So some of these things I at least will not just throw away saying that is an old one. I pick up the right things from there, whatever that is useful for a comfortable life that what we have and a life to move forward for not only for me, for my family, for the entire society and whatever it is there. So this proverb basically is telling me that it is a very useful one. We provide a fish, and this is Chinese because that area there are a lot of rivers and fish is one of the major food there. That's why it is talking about the fish. So we teach a student so that they can pass the examination. But after that, so teach him how to learn, and they can learn whatever they want for their future. So that should be how we should go. So teach him and trigger all their capabilities in their life. The nature has given so many capabilities to learn the skills. Just trigger it. Don't stop it. So that is how we should go. Okay, now let's look at some of the research work that people have done. So let me look at that. So here is a report. It is done some 2-3 years back. Let me read out. 50% of the graduating engineers in India are not directly employable in the industry. This is a very bad statement. This is done by a research data. 50% of the graduating engineers in India are not directly employable in the industry. And look at that. More than 1 million engineers come out every year from our engineering institutions. And 50% is quite a large number, and they are not directly employable. It's not a good situation. Now, I looked at a little more carefully about this one day. And I said, I have told you earlier, I used to write articles for various journals and the one day, even Malayalam as well as English. I said in that one, I wrote one of these articles because this is a very damaging statement. And I said, this is not surprising. Because if the students are not employable, directly employable in the industry, it is not surprising. And it is not the fault of the students, because the system is not meant for the students to be directly employable. There is a system problem there. Now, let me try to explain it. What is the problem there? Because we are all the educators in the engineering colleges or similar institutions. So if our students are not able to do it, there's something wrong. And let me try to explain. Now, let me look at another professional students community. They are the medical students. Now, no medical college is possible without an attached hospital. You will not get a grant. I mean, it will not be granted, will not be approved. So you need a medical hospital attached to every medical college. And I will call the hospital as healthcare industry. Now, from the second year onwards, every student in the medical college go to the hospital or the healthcare industry, and they go in and out of it almost every day. And they know exactly what is happening in the industry. They interact not just with the professors there, they interact with the nurses, they interact with the technologists and technicians, they interact with all sorts of people, even the emergency wards and trauma care, all areas there. So by the time, and even the doctors who are teaching them, and they are employed in that one, they know exactly what is going on. And by the time they graduate from the medical college, they know exactly what is happening in that industry, and they have the capability to directly go into that industry and perform. Now, let me come back and look at our engineering colleges. How many students know what is happening in the industry? How many of them ever gone into an industry and see what is happening? So we are totally off from the industry. The students have no, opportunity to go to industry and see what is happening. They know equations, they know whatever that is all been taught in the classrooms, but you have to have a feel of what is happening. You need a culture of working in an industry, and our students doesn't get that. Then how can you say that they can directly employ in an industry? Because they don't know what is happening there. And what we have is some outdated equipments in the lab, whereas the industry uses much different equipments there, and they don't have not even seen it. So this is not surprising. When I say 50% of the graduating engineers in the India is not directly employable. So what we need to do is that have a relationship with industries and allow our students to be a part of that as much as possible so that they know what exactly is happening there. So we must have all the possibilities of going to the engineering college, to the industries there. And we should allow the people from the industry to come to the institutions and teach them. And we have to make the border between academic institutions and the industry as porous as possible. People should move across, both the teachers as well as the students, so that the students know what exactly is happening in the industry and they can get the skills and develop the skills, whatever that is needed in the industry, because they know what skill is needed. Now they don't even know what are the skills that is needed in the industry. So this is a situation that we have, and we need to solve that one day. So this is what it is. Now, let me also go to some other research data. So internships and working experiences in the industry, we had to give all the support to do that. And the industry have their own problems because there are safety issues. Some of the students go there and it's a safety environment. You have to look at that one there. And another thing is that they are producing for if any processing because of the students who are not experienced is operating that. So they are taking a lot of risk in the industries. Since I was from the industry, I know what are the risks that they will be taking it. But we had to give all the encouragement. If the industry needs somebody in the night shift, we should allow that because that is for the working experience of the students. We should not say, oh, only from 10 to 4 we will work. Then we will not get the experience of that one there. Industry, you may have to work it. So for example, in a hospital, you cannot say, a cardiologist, I work only from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock. You cannot say your heart attack should come only between these times there. Now, somebody has to deliver a baby, you should deliver between 10 and 4. I mean, this is what is needed. We have to be into that. So no matter what field you are in, the question is what is needed, and your skill should be in for doing that one day. Now, let me look at another research work that is done. So this is based on the interviews on the Fortune 500 companies. So they have interviewed some 400 CEOs in the interview to get this report. Fortune companies are the top companies in the world. In India, like Reliance, and if you just look at Google or Microsoft, all such 500 companies is called Fortune 500 companies. And the CEOs are most, they have no time for all these things, but they have interviewed them. And this is a report came out of that report. And they say that this report is prepared by Stanford Research International and Carnegie Foundation. And this is a US-based two very major institutions. So they came out this research report. They said 75% of the term job and career success depends on the soft skills. And only 25% is determined by technical knowledge and hard skills. So this is for the career success. That means those who have done ahead in their career or they moved ahead in their career. And if they look at a long term, that one there. So they might have done in the same company or same organization, or they might have joined another organization, but their careers has advanced over a period of time. So what is the skill that they need to do such an advancement? They said only 25% is the technical knowledge and hard skills. 75% is soft skills, that is interpersonal and people skills. So we have to give a lot of importance for soft skills. And we know what is a soft skill. All of you know that. So I'm not going too much into that. But this gives me, I mean, we don't have to worry about is 75 or 74 or 73, but there's a large percentage where it is needed for the soft skills there. So engineers doesn't mean that you just learn the technique or the technology there. You also have to learn a lot of interpersonal and people skill, how to interact with people, and so many such personal development of the skills is needed for engineers as well, because it says that this report basically says that one there. So let's look at some of those skills in detail, but I'm not going too much into that. And the skills we divide into hard skill and soft skill, obviously, because this report talk about the hard skill and soft skill there. So hard skill, this is what we do in the engineering colleges. We learn a lot of technology, advancement, and how to do about things there and how to do. So all that what we are doing now, almost all of them are about the hard skills. So I'll spend some on the soft skills there. So let me look at some of the research data there. And Dell Technologies and Institute for the Future. So these are the two organizations. Dell Technologies, you must know already, and Institute for the Future is a very well-known institute in the USA. Both these are there. And they had a global research, and they come out a Realizing 2030 report. That means in 2030s, what exactly is going to be there. So this is a very nice report, and that is an eye-opening for all of us to do that. So they are talking about the hard skills. So let me start with the hard skills. So what they said is this is going to be an era of deep, immersed human-machine partnership. So the machine is going to have much more impact in the future. And there will be an interaction between the human and the machine. And there will not be any boundary between them. We cannot set it up. So technology and industries will advance at an exponential pace. An estimated 85% of the jobs exist in 2030 were historically not yet invented. That means whatever jobs that means commonly available in 2030s, it's not too far off, is not even invented yet. So we will be having technologies very different from what we are now having there. Now this brings us a big question. What do we teach the students? Because 2030 is quite soon. So by the time they come out of the institutions, probably they don't even know what skills they need or what technological knowledge they need, because they have not even invented yet. So this is the speed at which things are changing. So what do we teach the students if this is the condition? So let's look at some of those soft skills as well. And we'll try to discuss some of this. How do we go about doing this, and what teaching that we do, and how exactly we go about doing that. So soft skills, why do we need that? So students must understand, this is particularly more important nowadays, because some of the skills that we had earlier is almost going away from the students, because they think these are all not needed, and they are giving less importance, which was there earlier quite strongly. They are going away from that. So students must understand there are existing teams one need to work with. So for example, a student is joining an industry or any organization. It is not the first time they are just joining there. Already there is a team there, and they have to be a part of that one day. So they must have interpersonal relationship quite strongly. They must know. and they have to learn from the thing there. I just want to give an example of which I had gone through recently. Probably that will help to some extent. When I came back to Kerala, I had my friends here. So I was just going to one of my friends' house. And there's a person who is old there. And he was quite tensed. Then I asked him what happened because I'm meeting him for the first time and his son is away. And he was quite tense and he is just moving around here and there. I said, what happened? Then he said, the pump is not working. There is a motor, electric motor for draining water from the well. So it is not working for the last 2 days. And you know, if there is no water at home, the problems that you have. Then he said he has called a technician. He said he was busy, but he is going to come now. So I just want to make sure that. And when I went to his house, there was a young boy sitting there. I mean, somebody who must be studying in a college or something. So I just asked him, what do you do? He said he completed his engineering in mechanical engineering. Then I asked him, what do you do there? He said, I'm waiting for a job. I said, fine. Then he left from there and he went to his room or wherever is that. And this old man is just running around to make sure that the person comes in and repairs the one there. Now look at that. And he came and in 10 minutes he set it right and he was about to go. And this person was giving him some money. So I went to him and asked him, what do you do? He said, I just do all this repair work and so on. Then I asked him, what did you study? He said he didn't have the opportunity to study. So he stopped somewhere in the school and he learned this, whatever skill is there, and he is doing it. I said, it's just fine. And he went. I was just looking at it. There is a mechanical engineer sitting in that room. And he said he is looking for a job. And he did not even go to the place where the technician was working on the motor. And he was sitting somewhere in the room. Look, I will never give him a job. So even if I need people with a mechanical engineering, I will not give him because he cannot learn. He has no interest in that. He is looking for a job somebody will give him. For what? Why should I give him a job? Because he has no interest to learn. A mechanical engineer and this old man is running around to get water there and he is happily just sitting there. And he doesn't even know and he doesn't want to even learn that. So this is the situation of. So this is what I'm trying to talk about, the soft skills and interpersonal skill. Learn from wherever it is possible because you don't know what you will need in your life. There's no set syllabus in life and there is no out of syllabus questions there. Everything is in syllabus. So learn from wherever is possible and that is what we need. And so we have to make sure that you work in a team and work with that one day. And we must have the responsibility and commitment. So students must learn to take responsibility and they must have the commitment. Because I had my experience in my, part of my job. So we will give a job to somebody there. He said, oh, I can do that. And I have to deliver certain things on certain day. And there is somebody sitting there waiting for that. And I have so much of responsibility. If I have not provided on that day, they can just sue me in huge amount because I'm stopping his doing the things there. And somebody will just say in the previous day, say, oh, sorry, I couldn't do that. I don't know how to do that. I don't have this, that. Then I asked him, why don't you come earlier and tell me? I could have solved your problems there, or I could have asked someone else to do it. They leave till the last minute and say that they cannot do it because they don't have this, that. Do you want me to keep him such a position? He cannot take the responsibility and understand what is the responsibility or taken up by others. And where does he get the salary? From these responsibilities taken up by somebody else is getting the money to pay him the salary. And he doesn't even know that. Our students must know to take responsibility and they must have the commitment to do that. These are all the skills that we have to teach the students to tell them what is needed. Because as long as they get their food on the table, when they reach home, they will never know how the food is come there. They must learn the responsibility and commitment. They should be involved in their life and the life of the family, and must have the capability to learn faster. Because again, let me go to the industry experience that I have. Now, everyone in the industry has a job. So when somebody joins new, we will teach them, we will train them. And that is somebody who has already a job there, and he is taking his time to teach somebody. And if he doesn't learn that, and if there are 5 newcomers, if 4 of them are taking all the responsibility, interest in that and learning there, and the 5th person is not doing that, probably I will not keep him for long, because there is not time for this, and I don't want to make a mistake in operating a machine, and that will have a big problem for the whole of the industry there. So capability to learn faster is a requirement for. So you cannot waste your time and concentrate on the work that you do. So if you are preparing for the examination, concentrate on that. And if you are just doing a project, concentrate on that, because that is the capability that you want. So you must have the capability to learn faster and provide whatever is that. Now, teach and learn from others. So that is what is needed in the industry, because somebody is teaching you, and learn from as many people as possible. And you have to work with them, you have to help them to learn. And in the process, you learn yourself. So that will be a learning center. So every place of work is a learning center. So if you don't have an interest to learn, you will not survive for long there, because things are changing and you have to keep learning that. Now, let me tell you, all the soft skills can be learned. Let me make a statement. Because nature has provided the capability to learn the skills. So all these skills can be learned, and we need these skills there. So don't get away. Someone is coming at home, just go to your room and shut there. No, you must interact with the person, because you need such a skill. So learn from day one itself. So all the soft skills can be learned, and learning these soft skills, make it as a culture. So you had a culture earlier, and it is going away from there, and make it as a culture of a soft skills from wherever is possible, and inculcate them from the childhood. So we must reintroduce, I'm sorry to use a term, we have to reintroduce to move in a society. We are moving away from that. We are sitting our own small rooms. No, open it up. And from the childhood itself, every child must be a part of the family, the schools, everywhere you have to have these skills, and you have to develop it from the childhood onwards. So this is what it is. So now let's look at, let's say you have the skills, both hard skills and the soft skills. How do we measure it? Because if you are coming for an industry, for an interview, we need to know how much hard skills you have, how much soft skills you have. So how do we measure it? Or how do we measure the skills? Now, hard skills is very easy. We can just look at their manuscripts, look at their mark sheet. Let's say for somebody is coming from, let's say, very good institution. Let me take an example of an IIT. And let's say he is in the top 10% or top 5%. And look, if a person has to be in IIT and he is in a group of top 10%, the best students, if you say, there is no point giving him an interview and asking him about his knowledge in the subject, because without that, he cannot be that. There is no doubt about that. So again, asking questions to find out whether he really knows is a waste of time, because the mark sheet and the institute from which he is coming itself shows that he has the capability in the hard skill. But what about the soft skill? How do we check in the interview? So if there are so many questions we can ask in the interview, say that, or do you work with others? You have a teamwork. I mean, a person who is sitting in front of me, if he say no, then there is something wrong with him. Because everybody will say, yes, I have so much of capability in teamwork. And then you ask, do you have leadership capability? I mean, who will never say I don't have it? Because everybody knows that you must have these skills, has been told them. So everybody will tell, I have all these skills there. But then how do we know? Because the people who are sitting in front of you, they know that we have to tell that we know this, we have these skills there. But how do we measure it? So the recent days, we have to be careful about that, and the students must know. Wherever I see the students, especially in the engineering students, I tell them you have to be very, very careful about this because people are evaluating you. So, for example, when I went to the person where he has a problem with the pump, I already measured him, measured his student, or measured that young boy there. Because I'm not going to give him a job because he has no interest in learning. I already measured him. So he doesn't have to go to an industry because people are getting measured everywhere. And this is how it is going there. Now, let's look at how people do measure for the industry. Hard skills, I already said, your mark sheet and the institution that you are in, it will tell you a lot of things about the hard skills. Soft skills, nowadays, what people do, even I did towards the end of my career, you look at the social media accounts. That will tell you a lot of things about the individual there. So let's say somebody has left a job and he is applying for you, for your industry or my industry, whatever is that. Now, let's say when he has left the job, the earlier job, people obviously will ask, why do you leave it? All in the social media because he will have a lot of friends. And we say, oh, I didn't like that job. Or my manager is very bad. The company is very bad. This is all negatives. I am not a fool to assume that he is going to do the same thing to me or to my company because when he leaves my company or me, he is going to write the same thing there. And it's very easy to measure what is his attitude. Just by the social media, you can find out. And now there are organizations, they will give you the social media details when you have to go through an interview. So when I say that I need to get the social media, the background of this person, because I'm going to interview him, then there are people who can do this for you. And there are psychologists in those groups. They will even evaluate the real person, his psychology of that, and whether he is fit for that. So I keep telling the students, be careful when you're on the social media. People are evaluating you. And even now, so be careful, right? Because all these informations are now available because of the internet and social media. It's good you have social media, you will get a lot of information about jobs available and so on. But at the same time, you also have impacts of social media and be careful about that one thing. So this is about the social media. You have to be careful about that one. So let's look at what are the things that we have. So almost the last slide. So I'm just going to. So what we need to do is that not teach them the subjects, teach them how to learn because they are going to live for the 60 or 70 years. They have to learn. So we are basically teach them how to learn. Okay. So let's look at some of those. And the first part is skill development. So we must have whatever skill that is needed and natural development of the ability to learn. So that is what we have. So develop natural ability and trigger them. We all have natural ability to learn. I gave the examples of that and any skills that can be learned. Some of them may be a bit slow, some of them may be faster, it doesn't matter. You can learn all the skills. So look at the skills development and we need to have that one there. Then provided updated syllabus and expose the students what is happening outside. Now, why I said is updated syllabus. I looked at some of the syllabus, especially the area that I work in semiconductor technology is there. Even some of the very good institutions, syllabus is not updated because the syllabus is, the technology is changing so fast. If they don't update it, students learn something which is old. And by the time they complete 4 years or 5 years and go to the industry and ask for the interview, they talk about something which is old, they will know immediately. He has not been updated. So provide updated syllabus, and we have to, every institution or even university has to keep looking at it. They interact with the industry people and get an updated syllabus there and expose the students to the industry's requirement and various skills so that they can develop the skills, and they must know that they have to learn the skills by themselves because that's a capability that they have and this is needed in the future. So they should have that part of it. And there are a lot of online learning platforms. Nowadays, it is different from the earlier days. Earlier, the teacher is knowledgeable and teacher is the only knowledgeable person in that community or whatever they have. So for everything, you go to a teacher. And if you want to learn a little more than that, you will go to the library. But library also, there are limited books there. And so basically everything is come on to the teacher or the professor, whoever is that one there. But now there are so many online courses. Every area you have online courses there. And some of the fantastic courses are available. I learn a lot of things from these courses nowadays, very up to date. And I just want to give one example of that. It's an MIT OpenCourseware. MIT, is Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And they just take a video of their classroom. So 55 minutes or 1 hour classroom, and they post it. So complete 1 semester course of so many subjects they have, it is on the online. It is open to everyone from everywhere. You can go through that, and it's an online course. You don't have to even register it. So if you go to YouTube and type MIT OpenCourseware, you will get whatever subjects that you want, which is being taught, and they are just taking a video of the classroom, and so any subject you can learn. So MIT, that those who doesn't know much about MIT is one of the very well-known university in the US. Almost 50 Nobel laureates name is associated with that. They have either studied there, they are working there, or they have, part of that one. So such a high-end university there, and such a classroom is available to us to sit at home and learn from whatever time that we have. It's so much of opportunity for us there. Similarly, many universities in the top range who provide these courses to the whole world. So use it there and you'll get an up-to-date. And plus you also know what is the level of the students, because many times you need to compete with such students there. When you go out of, especially those who are from Kerala, you have to be careful because many times our syllabus is not to that level. And I give an example of myself. When I went after degree and joined my master's in Bombay University, there was a gap of the subjects that I have studied here as well as that I need to pick it up in the MSc course. There's a gap and I have to really work hard to match it. So when you go out of Kerala, you have to make sure that what is the level of those who are coming along with you for the interview, what is their level. So you have to be, so some of these open courses that is available in the internet also tell you what is the level that they have. So you can pick it up, those open courses. So online learning is a platform which is recent, which was not there 50 years back or 40 years back or a couple of years back. So that facility is available, make use of it. So online learning platforms are very useful for anyone who wants to learn. So they are available. So just be aware of that. MIT OpenCourseware, I just gave an example. There are so many such things and they really show you there. And another interesting thing, the MIT Open Courseware that I found is that there is no PowerPoint presentation there. They show whatever they want to teach right in the class itself. So the experiments are conducted in the class and they just teach you that one day. So it's really an interesting things, what is happening outside. So now we have to look at the behavior of the students, and students must know what is the consequences of that. I already told about the online activities, the social media activities, how and what is going to happen there. Now, this is also have come to other levels. So when you want to go abroad to some other universities, let's say you got an admission in a fantastic university. So for example, in a US university where they will provide all the money needed to study there. But to go there, or if you want to go for a job in the US, to go there, this admission is not enough. The university admission with whatever is that is not enough. You need a visa to go there. So if it's a student, you need a student visa. If it's a job, you need a visa to do the job there. And many countries, when you apply for the visa, they need your social media account details, including USA. So, and they will evaluate you based on your social activities, and they decide whether you want to give a visa or not based on your online activities there. So be careful. Even if you have a fantastic admission letter and all the facilities available to you, but you may not get a visa because your activities in the social media doesn't want you to be there in that country. Because why should they allow you for somebody who is troubling going there? So be careful about, I used to keep telling the students, be careful about the social media details, what is going on there. Now, we have to tell about the physical and mental health of the students. And this is more and more important because I just speak about just two activities there. One is their food, the other one is their sleep. Now, food habits nowadays, the students are going through, we know that it is not at all healthy. But I just want to mention, we think that it's not going to affect your mental health. No, it's not true. It is really affecting the mental health. Because if you just look at your body, we know the brain has so many neurons, and all the brain activities that we have is due to the neurons. But there are neurons in other parts of the body. Our digestive system has a lot of neurons. They almost independently work for the digestive system there, but they are constantly in communication with our brain. So anything that is happening into the digestive system has sent signals to the brain. Similarly, brain keeps sending signals to the neurons of the digestive system. So that's why when you have a stress situation, then you may not have a good digestive system working there, or you may feel that you are not hungry. It is because this brain is sending signals to that one. So physical and mental health is very important. Similarly, sleep is very important, especially nowadays people are in the online media even late in the night and they don't get sufficient sleep. Now, whatever that we study in the daytime and whatever that we see, whatever is that is not going to the permanent memory. It goes to the temporary memory first, and in the night, it is transferred to the permanent memory. And the sleep, when let's say you sleep at 10 o'clock and wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you say, oh, I have a fantastic sleep. But during sleep, your brain doesn't sleep. It is most active during the sleep because it does a lot of activities now, like transferring from the temporary memory to the main memory. Is all happening when you are sleeping by yourself, but brain is doing all these things there. So if you don't get a proper and the sleep, it goes through various cycles without our knowledge, and all these cycles are needed because for the brain to do a lot of activities there. So memory is a very, very important, and it is connected to our sleep, proper sleep and sufficient sleep. And our students nowadays, they are not giving any importance to that, and they'll stay up to 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, for what? And in the process, they are killing themselves. So both physical and mental health, their food and their sleep. Of course, other things are there like exercise and so on. I am not going to that. So we have to be careful about the new youth have these problems there. Now, of course, the lifelong learning, they have to learn whatever is needed for the lifelong. And let me just conclude this saying that I like to call them not as a student. I like to call them as Vidyarthi. Arthi means request or beg. So those who beg, Vidya is Vidyarthi. So we must tell them you are a Vidyarthi, not a student. Vidyarthi, you will be keep asking or begging for Vidya, and that is what you are. And it also tells, the term is fantastic. I never seen such a word in any other language. It's basically from Sanskrit, and it has all the meaning there. I am a Vidyarthi because I am the person who is asking for it. That's why I am the Vidyarthi. And the responsibility of getting Vidya is with me because I am asking for it. I am requesting Vidya. I am begging Vidya. And I am a Vidyarthi. And the responsibility of getting that is with me, not somebody else. So thank you very much. I conclude here. And we can have some time for discussion. I like to learn from you. And absolutely. Thank you very much. Yeah. Now we can have the discussion. I would like to have your feedback. I would like to learn from you because every day you are seeing so many students, and I would like to have your feedbacks, your comments. Some of the things you may not agree what I have said. I would like to have that as well. So let me have your comments. So I just open it up for discussion. Thank you. You can ask any questions, your comments, your feedbacks. Okay, are you able to speak?
Dear participants, If you may have some questions regarding the session, you can ask.
Yeah, you can ask questions, or I want to learn from you. So just give your opinions as well as what is you think is the future, because we are all the same field. Mhm.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. So thank you very much. We'll just wind up. If you have questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, we'll just wind up that. Okay, thank you very much.
It seems there are no further questions. So let's wind up the session. On behalf of all participants, I sincerely thank you, Dr. V. Premachandran, for the insightful session. Thank you, sir, for your valuable time. So we shall now conclude this session. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.